Alrighty, we're back. It's Monday. It's a weeknight, and that means it's our night.
Every night, almost every night is all right. But yeah, sure. It's Monday.
5 nights a week.
Five nights.
5. We come here and give you the latest, the greatest, and the shameless of the entertainment industry, and that's exactly what we got for you today. Yep. And before we start there, I am JD, aka He Who Pods. And yeah, that's it. No more AKAs today.
I'm Dash, aka Dashing D, and that about wraps it up for me.
Oh, okay. Ditching all the AKAs today. All right.
Yeah.
Keeping it light on a Monday.
Sometimes you gotta keep it light.
That's a fact. And speaking of light,
You mean white?
yep.
Mm-hmm. Let's not get the two confused. Okay. One is a part and one is not.
Well,
I mean,
Eminem.
everybody's favorite white rapper is
Oh,
back.
not anymore. That's a whole nother topic.
I'm just saying. I mean, he's like the holy grail of white rappers. Is that not true?
I think he used to be. I think today somebody else has that title.
Who is that? That's a real question.
Are you serious? I feel like you baiting me.
No, no, but I don't know who. Listen, I
The
think
most famous rapper in the world right now is Jewish. He grew up Jewish. He had a bar mitzvah.
I've never considered Drake white. I want to be clear. Like I've never looked at him and thought, "Oh, that's a white man." I mean, I get that there's this conversation happening right now around this, and I get how he grew up. I never looked at Drake and thought he was a white man or classified him as such, categorized him as such. I always considered him black. And you know what? In the United States, I know he's from Toronto, but in the United States, you really only needed one drop to be considered black. So we could keep having this conversation about how Drake is not black or Drake didn't grow up black, but Drake is black as far as I'm concerned. Eminem is white. Like, you want to have a conversation about biracial people and intersectionality, we could totally have that conversation. But to me, Drake is black.
Got it. Well, this conversation is not about Drake. It is about Eminem.
But
On Friday,
who would be the biggest white rapper? Seriously. I'm not talking about Drake, and you know I'm not talking about Drake.
oh,
Who
but
would
I
it be?
was. That's why I said Drake.
I
I
know
meant
you are.
Drake.
You really think that Drake? Okay, that's fine.
I mean,
Is he not a black Jew?
he doesn't even recognize himself as Jewish, but he does say in interviews in the past that he grew up white. He grew up, he had bar mitzvahs and everything. The footage is out. I mean, you could find that pretty easily, probably. So that's a white guy, no?
Okay.
I'm asking. That's not growing up white.
Yes.
Does he have black in him? Absolutely. Drake has a closer descendants to Africa than I do. If we're gonna go that route, right? If we're gonna be serious about it and not silly, yes. Drake has a closer descendants to Africa than I do. Yes. Absolutely. There's no questioning that. But he grew up Jewish with bar mitzvahs. So I mean, would it not be him? It's not
I
the
mean,
most.
this is this we could end up in circles. But okay, I guess I was thinking more like Post Malone and like people like not I'm sorry, Jack Harlow and people like that. That's what I was thinking
Got it. You mean 100% white?
when I yes, when I say white, I mean white. You are if you are half black, are considered black in this country. I don't. That's not. I wasn't. Okay. Let's backtrack. I wasn't joking. I was serious when I said I consider Drake black because Drake has a black father.
Yes.
So Drake is considered a black man. He may not be from here or I don't know how else to say it. He may not be from here. He may be from Toronto, but I am from the US where if you are half black, you are black.
Yes.
So I hope when I said what I said, I wasn't joking. I was serious. I was thinking more. I know I said Post Malone. That's not who I was thinking of. But I was thinking of like Jack Harlow and Eminem, people who are
Mac Miller.
Mac Mill, right? White
There's another guy. I can't remember his name. He battled Eminem. Kelly? Kelly?
be-
Machine Gun Kelly.
because then would you have said that then J Cole is white?
The second famous. No, I'm just like.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I meant when I say white rapper. I mean white rapper.
I think it's an interesting conversation. Probably one I'm not the best person to be a part of because again, they are closer in diameter to the descendants of Africa than I am. And so people might say, oh, that Spanish guy's talking about biracial kids. He should shut the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
And I can understand that. But I think there's a conversation to be had about the way we grow up and how it informs who we are as adults.
Of course.
Um, and I think that shows very much, I think that comes out very differently in J. Cole and Drake. I think from Drake, we see a lot more of the white side and how he grew up with that parent, as opposed to J. Cole and how he grew up with that parent. J. Cole was mostly with mom too, but it seems like he was embracing his blackness at an early age.
He used to hang out with
Uh,
his cousins.
and yeah, he literally speaks about hanging out with his cousins. So yeah,
Because when you hang out with your cousins,
yeah.
that'll shape you in whatever way.
And so I think there's a conversation there. And if again, I don't think I'm the best person to have that conversation because of how it can be viewed. I'm honest about that, but I think there's a conversation that is allowed to be had. I also think
Sure.
also don't think white people who are fans of Drake look at Drake as a black artist. I think they look at him as, oh, one of us is the best.
I don't know. I don't know if I believe that. But and maybe you're
There's a
right.
Jewish guy I see all the time. I can't say where, but there's a Jewish guy I see all the time with OVO gear on. All the time. And every time I see him, I want to ask him, and I can't because of where I see him at. But I'm always like, man, why does he like Drake? Let's have a real deep conversation. But I can't have that conversation with him. But he's always OVO'd out. He's the Jewish, and I don't mean by Jewish guy like the Drake Jewish guy who I grew up Jewish, but I denounced it or I don't celebrate it or whatever. I mean, the person I see is um is a term for the I don't is it Orthodox Jew? I believe is the term. If I'm saying it wrong, forgive me. I'm not trying to be discriminatory.
You're talking
Honestly,
you're talking about like there's different sects, but are you talking about the more devout? They have wear the garb and
yes.
hair and yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's what they are. That family, the family that he's a part of, that's what they are. And so I see him all the time, OVO'd out, and I'm like,
Okay,
no wonder
but see and see I don't know. I've never asked a white person what they think of Drake or how they would.
we should hit the streets.
Nope.
Billy in the Streets.
Nope.
Which really, I think first, what was his name? I'm like really tired.
Streets. Hits from the street.
Right.
Hits.
Hits from the Streets. No, but didn't Jay Leno used to do that too? Didn't he make it
Oh,
famous?
I think Jay
Where
Leno
he
did
would
have a
just
segment like that on his
go in
show.
the street and ask people questions like, "Who's the president right now?" They'd be like, Dashing D." He'd be like, "Yup, you right."
They'll say, yeah, they would say random
Yeah.
things.
He'd be like,
Um,
"When I say JD, what comes to mind?" They'd be like, "R. Kelly." No, not R. Kelly. And just say random stuff that didn't make any sense.
it's just yeah. I think you're right
Like
about that.
JD. Oh yeah, isn't that Michael Jordan's dad? You'd be like, "What?"
Yeah, no, it
I
never.
think Jay Leno made that famous. But anyway, we should do that. We should hit the white streets.
I'd be willing to hit the streets, but not for that reason.
We
But
can't ask the whites who's their favorite.
I mean, we can, but
I don't think people would like us very much if we did.
no, exactly. And I also, we can't ask them what we really want to ask them, so it's we'd be blurring the lines a little bit there. But I will say, so I agree with you. I think that culturally there is a conversation to be had. But there's
I mean, it
different
comes up all the time with Logic. I mean, it's his fault. It
yeah.
comes up a lot, but it comes up a lot with Logic, and
But
I don't see why it can't come up with the other people. I think with J. Cole, I'm sorry, I totally cut you off. I'll shut up. I just want to say this last part. I think with J. Cole, because he embraces blackness at such a young age, and he comes across as this like super hip hop historian, grew up in the hood black guy, that nobody even really questioned it until he said he had a white mom on a song.
right. And that's why I'm saying I think culturally there is a conversation to be had. Um, but but there's a difference between how you culturally identify and how you walk into a room because you people see you first before they
Yeah.
know what's inside or what you're going to say or what you identify with. So to me, when we started this conversation, for me it was simply his dad is black, his mom is white. I consider him a black man. Culturally, you are absolutely right in saying he did not grow up in what we might consider a traditionally black existence. He is very much saying the opposite of that, which is absolutely, you know, it absolutely warrants a discussion about culturally is he of and a part of our culture. Um, so yes, there are plenty of conversations to be had around Drake and even J. Cole, and because one could argue that J. Cole kind of falls under the radar when it comes to that because of what he knows and how he presents himself and how he grew up.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
yes,
there's a whole list of them, but
yeah,
if
of
we're
course,
if we're speaking hip hop specifically, those are kind of the three that it comes up with:
right,
Drake, J. Cole, and Logic. If we expand it to black music, then yeah, it gets to be a bigger conversation. Because
yeah,
until like a couple of years ago, I didn't know Mariah Carey was black at all. Like
yeah,
I
and
thought she just hung out with us. Just being honest, because she was remember she was a pop star before she came into any hip hop realm.
sure, I see why you say that, but so I
And
get
also,
it.
there's none about Mariah's music that says black until a certain point. And at that point, it's like, oh, but you was hanging with Diddy and ODB and them, and then Jermaine Dupri,
Yes,
Rockefeller.
and when they tell stories about her, they
Yeah, no, she seems very
down to
diva.
earth.
Oh, I was gonna say the opposite. It'd be sounding like she's a diva.
Oh no, I feel like when they tell stories about her though, she's culturally black.
Oh, I mean, I guess it depends who tells the story because I've heard some stories where it's like she's what they say hot to Diddy, right? Like she's like super stuck up and diva type of person. But then I've heard other stories where like, yeah, until the alcohol came out or until certain things happened.
Or
And
like
then it was
when
like
she was hanging
she's
out with the
she's one of
rappers.
us.
Right.
She was
I've
fun.
heard that when she's with the rappers, she's very comfortable.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard. But I think we've all said all of this to say that we really don't want to talk about Houdini.
But we have to. And so let's get to it. Because we
A
played
whole
around.
15-minute deep dive about what is black. And okay, so Houdini is the new single by rapper Eminem. Um
We sound like entertainment tonight.
yeah, I'm trying.
Eminem releases new music this Friday.
Right. It came out on Friday. There's an album coming. We knew that there was an album coming.
The death of
And
Slim Shady.
The Death of Slim Shady is supposed to be his final album. I thought I read that somewhere. I get so
No,
frustrated with the final album talk that I just
you might have
don't.
just stuck it on there.
I either stuck it on there or I tried not to commit it to memory. One of the two. But the point is, because yeah, I think this is supposed to be his last one because doesn't he keep talking about making himself disappear? That's
That
like
was
the
the
whole
promo
history
for.
of
It was this is the death of Slim Shady. That's all we know.
right. Okay, I gotta look that up. But I thought that was the whole premise of the thing. The point is, Houdini came out, and yeah, what'd you think of it?
Me, after I spoke so much, no, you. What do you think about it?
Well, because here's the thing, I've never really been the hugest Eminem fan, so I think my bias leans in the opposite direction. Like I'm wasn't excited that there was new music coming from Eminem. I don't particularly care. Um,
Hmm.
I listen to it because we do this, but otherwise I probably wouldn't have. And it's not to say that he didn't make good music. I just never it like other than the radio hits, it never really stuck with me or like I have listened to Eminem albums. It's not that I've never listened to an album. I just it wasn't something I kept going back to. I knew around the time that he was super popular, I feel like everybody around me was like really really into him and I just never really was. So I will preface it by saying that.
Okay.
Um, I don't think that matters here. Um because I turned it on and thought to myself, did they just change the words to a song we already knew?
Kind of.
It just sounds exactly like something we've heard or a few things we've heard already. And I am a proud supporter of people who like maintain their sound. I think sometimes that's really important. I think that's more important than R&B than in hip hop. Um Not that you can't switch up your sound. It's just that I think it's okay to be consistent in your sound. There are a lot of people who will say oh, every time this person puts out an album, it sounds the same. Every time someone creates a cohesive body of work, it should sound like them. Like the songs and things should have changed, but it should still sound like the person that you, whatever. Anyway, so I think in hip hop it's a little bit different, or maybe a lot different because there's so much you can do in terms of switching up your flow, working with different producers to switch up your beats, like all kinds of things. Um, this to me just sounded like something we had heard already, and not once before, but like a lot of times before. And
What do you mean by that?
it sounds like his other songs.
It sounds like one song specifically, the real Slim Shady.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, he took lyrics straight from the real Slim Shady. The whole beginning is the real Slim Shady, isn't it?
The beat itself is a remixed version, a redone version,
The real.
updated version of the beat of the real Slim Shady. And yeah, he's rapping in the same cadence and he uses some of the same lines. Yes.
And I believe there's a video, and isn't in the real Slim Shady? He's like running around in costumes also.
Yes, he did that on purpose. Yes. Are you saying songs? What other songs have you heard this?
Oh, I just feel like there was a period of time where a lot of Eminem songs sounded like that, like the real simple stuff.
Oh, okay. I got what
I
you're
mean,
saying.
yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like
Maybe
some of
like
the
the
songs that came out.
animated, silly.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I got you.
So it to me it just felt like more of the same.
Mhm.
I don't know what I expected. He's been gone for a long. Well, I know he's put out music, but I don't think anyone really cared. But he's been gone. Like from his peak, he's been kind of off people's radar for a while, and I just kind of was just like, oh, okay, this sounds, yep, the same.
Yeah, it does.
He didn't do anything for me.
Yeah, I think um so the Slim Shady LP and the Eminem Show are the albums where we hear a lot about Slim Shady. Um that was kind of his peak. Eminem Show is kind of his peak. Um it was where like he hit like the top. Uh Eminem Show I think went diamond as well. And what? Why that face?
I didn't know he had an album called Eminem Show.
That's his most famous album, if I'm correct. I think that's the one that went diamond. You know, tons of music off of there. I promise
No,
you.
I believe you. I'm not saying that I don't know the music on the album. I just didn't know that that was an album of his.
Yeah, it's Slim Shady LP,
I know about that one.
Marcel Mathers LP,
I know about that one.
and then I think it's Eminem Show, if I'm correct.
Didn't realize that that's what that was called, but okay.
Yeah, and then Encore is where it starts getting weird, and the roller coaster starts going down. Um,
Which one was Rihanna on?
None of those. That came years later.
Okay.
Yeah, those were like the comeback albums, quote unquote.
How many
It
comeback
was
albums were there?
two back to back, and then
But did he really come back, or was he
some
just kind of
time.
hanging out by the door?
It was relapse and recovery. What'd you say? Did he what?
I said, did he really come back, or was he just kind of standing by the door?
You're a fool. Well, he had addiction issues, and he dove into that. And then Kamikaze was a couple years later, and then that was the one that was like really popular. Listen, I'm gonna be honest. I stopped listening to Eminem after Encore. Many people tried to get me to listen to Relapse and Recovery, but right after Relapse came out, he said it sucked. And on Recovery, he says Relapse sucked. And then why would I listen to it if you said it sucked?
You don't even like it, man.
And so I listened to Recovery, and Recovery was cool. A lot of my peers loved the Recovery album. I didn't listen to an Eminem album after that. Because the singles I heard were cool, but didn't really move me to listen to the music. Um,
How many albums does Eminem have?
I don't know off the top of my head.
What, like 8
I would
maybe?
guess, I would guess 10. One of them is a best of. I don't count best of albums,
No, I wouldn't. I mean, like,
but
how many albums did he sit down and like make new music for?
let's find out. Specs on. Okay, Eminem albums, discography. Here we go. Oh, see, I didn't even know there was an. All right, so we got Slim Shady LP. Oh, I don't need to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 3 versions of Relapse.
Oh, okay.
I'm counting that as one album. 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, the song with Beyonce. That's interesting. Uh, 11, 11 albums. I'm not counting deluxe albums because there's a few, and I'm not doing that. And there's a re-release of one of them that's like a 10-year anniversary with extra songs. I'm not counting that. There's a couple of them that are deluxe and a couple of them that say expanded edition.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not counting those. So it would be 12. This would be his 13th album if I'm correct. Um anyway, when Houdini comes on, you hear the beat of Slim Shady, the real Slim Shady. That was disappointing immediately to me. And then I thought, all right, maybe they're gonna do some cool shit with the beat. There's all type of updated sounds and popular things that are going on in hip hop. They didn't. It was like just an updated version of the beat. He's rapping in a similar style. It's like he's trying to be Slim Shady again, even though the song is called Houdini. It says this is his last trick. He's gonna disappear. It's cool. Yeah, I will say it does sound like some kind of build up to something. Uh, I don't know what that is, but this didn't sound good to me. It sounded a lot like the Eminem I never really was a big fan of. Yes, it's true. At the time, everyone and their mother was a fan of the real Slim Shady. It was catchy. It was funny. It had a lot of cool things, a bouncy record. But 20 years later, or close to 20 years later, we don't need that again. It sounds like a lot of the things he was saying were for shock value, and I never was a fan of that Eminem. Uh, because that Eminem started on Real Slim Shady and then just went over the top. And so, and some could say it started before that, but that was the first song where it really was like on a mainstream record and he was ODing on purpose. And I liked Real Slim Shady, but I don't need Real Slim Shady again, 20 years later or close to 20 years later. I did not enjoy this. Um,
You
yeah,
said
I
y'all
heard
missed TRLM.
he what?
You said y'all missed TRLM.
I never missed TRLM. Um, but this is a challenge for me because I thought, oh, maybe he's being serious. I heard his last album was really good, even though I never heard it. Um, I don't think this is for me. I think this is for the people who enjoy uh, the silly, animated, shock value Eminem. And that's not really my favorite part of Eminem. It's actually why I stopped listening to Eminem. So to me, this was not a good way to start. Uh, but I guess we'll see what he has next.
You
To
want
me,
you want sweaty palms, Eminem?
no, that's never been my favorite song either. I like when Eminem is introspective.
And angry.
Um, and sometimes that's angry, but a lot of times introspective. I like when he's creative. Um, I like his storytelling abilities. He used to switch flows a lot. I don't know. He doesn't do that a lot. The songs I heard after a certain time frame, he wasn't doing that. Um, and then in 20, since 2019, 2018, what I've been told, because I haven't really listened much, is just that he wants to prove he's the best with lyrics. And that's why people have not really liked him. He's just been trying to be super lyrical. Uh, and so that's cool, but I don't really need that from Eminem. So I don't know. I don't know where this is gonna go. I don't really know. I'm not the biggest Eminem fan today. Um, I'm not against going back and listening to like the last album that I heard was really good. But there's been a lot of Eminem's album that have passed by that I haven't listened to. So I didn't have high expectations, but I was disappointed when I heard the Slim Shady beat, the real Slim Shady beat come back on. And yes, the video is supposed to be very similar to the old one. He's in the Robin costume and chasing Dr. Dre around, just like the old video.
Are you gonna listen to the album?
For this podcast, I will gladly do so. If it is not for this podcast, I have no interest in hearing it thus far, but maybe the second single will change my mind.
Maybe.
Yeah.
TBD then.
To be determined. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Weeknights. Thank you for being here. We'll see y'all tomorrow on a Tuesday.
Bye.